Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Bastion.
Today, we are finally coming back to long form video, and we are going to be talking about our experience with GenCon. It was a good year this year.
It was a fantastic year.
This is the first year I had just like completely filled up with events to the point where I actually had to cancel some of them last minute just because I was not prepared. Normally, I like to have my NPC time and walk around and people watch and play some board games, but
Yeah, we usually like to wander the halls at Gen Con a little bit, but with Heroscape being so prominent now, that was not the case.
especially for me, but we'll get into that later. What do you think, just to start us out, was your favorite event or day or just thing that happened?
Let's go. Favorite event would be the bounty event with Renegade.
Bounty event was great.
Bounty event was great.
I enjoyed it.
I got to play against Lee Huff's husband, and he was so fun to play with. And he complimented my Vipers, which was a lot for me. But that event as a whole, sitting there and watching people play against some of their favorite like community and staff members and seeing the laughs and the crazy rolls and just like the insane plays was definitely my favorite event. And that was on day 3,
Yeah, it was
a
Saturday
Saturday
night.
night. That was my favorite part of Gen Con personally.
I think my favorite part definitely has to be working so hard day one to get it to make it into day two after I was the only one who didn't of our
Yeah,
group. So it felt good. I was proud at how fast I was able to adapt, especially because I switched armies from Heat One to Heat
you
Two.
did. You switched
But
armies on Heat 2 because you didn't make it into day 2 on Heat 1, right?
yes, so but I was after those dice, and I worked hard. I adapted. I got some tips from some great people. I'll talk more about later, but they I was very proud of myself, especially as somebody who has played the game for less than a year, which is crazy to think about. Going from starting, what was it, last October?
Last October is when we really got into Heroscape, and to now, like meeting everyone we've met, playing all the matches against some of the most experienced players in the world, getting feedback, both good and bad, of our army building skills, has been crazy.
Lots of bad over the last couple months, but
Humbled. I'll tell you right now, we've been humbled. Little from video making to short form to army making, the learning experience is unfathomable. It's insane.
yeah, I was really happy with everything that happened. And like I said, after playing both heats, I was also able to get enough tickets day one to get this hat and represent my favorite generals, who I've also been representing every alliance where I've been to.
The commitment for Ular Aquila within Aaron is insane.
Oh yeah,
He has stayed true every single event to trying to make them work.
except Worlds, because there are no good Aquila Ular units for Worlds except maybe Savaris.
Yet coming
But
out, we saw the previews. You guys saw the short.
well,
There's
you've
stuff
seen them.
coming. Yeah, you've not seen him yet. He did not spoil himself. We're gonna do a video of covering all the new units with him, and that's gonna be excellent.
I somehow made it all weekend and for the last week of not seeing any new spoilers. So I've been told by so many people, staff members included, that as an Aquila fan, I should be very, very excited. But with all the events going on, I just couldn't make it out to the merch hall booth to see him. And the one time I did to pick up my Elam Fua, there was like a big crowd around it, so I didn't get a
Oh
chance.
yeah,
But
people were crowding around that booth like crazy. But yeah, no, that's coming. So look out for that video. That's gonna be good.
so speaking of world champs, what'd you take?
My world champ team was Elin Fafo, Vipers, Dreadnoughts, Isamu. And my idea behind it was if I lead with Elin Fafo and Dreadnoughts, I should be able to kill Serpentor and some troopers. We learned the hard way that wasn't the case against people who knew what I was doing.
I felt kind of similarly, but thankfully, what I took, which was Queen, Honor Guard, Gnarlfur, Kariga, Isamu, a lot of people there still did not know what Kariga did, and so there were a few misplays where they were giving me better rolls, but I don't know what else you do. But I found I really struggled getting Kariga across the map into a position to actually do something against the Cobras. If I did get her there, it went great. But
Sounds like she has the same problem I had in Dayton last year with the Krakenling, where it's like, if I get to you, I got you, but it never made it there.
yeah, I was really impressed, and I did manage in Heat One. I did manage to beat a single Cobra comp with the Serpentor.
That's pretty good.
So I was pretty happy with it. After I lost, I went 2-3 Heat One. I moved on uh, to Heat Two, and since none of the rest of the group were playing, I borrowed a Serpentor comp for Heat Two, and what do you know? It played better. It's almost as though Serpentor is really easy to play when you're, you know, uh, got one of the strongest comps in the game.
It's
However,
almost like we knew Serpentor was going to be everywhere.
yeah, he was everywhere. I think in Heat Two I played it was 3 or 4 mirror matches. Which speaking of, I had not played Cobra. I'd played against them a couple times through the last couple months, but I'd never played them before. So it was kind of rough, and that's where I did get. I want to give a huge shout out to Major Q23 and Sneaky. Both of those guys I played against, and they mopped the floor with me. But once our match was done, they were super great guys, and they gave me some tips, which let me just barely squeak by and win my last mirror match. Because I'm an aggressive player. I've been playing, like Death Chaser, Addleburn type stuff, and so going into playing Cobras, I was just playing way too fast, and they're like, stay back, let him come at
Slow
you.
roll forward kind of
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
And Serpentor is just like a threat. You can just leave him in the middle with a jetpack, and they have to play around him. And
Oh,
if they
the
don't,
Destro glyphs.
you know,
It's always nice when when new players are able to receive feedback from experienced players, because every time we go to these events, there's always someone there with a lot of experience who has been able to help us grow as players, and we appreciate that more than you will ever understand. Because coming in as contemporary only players, when we are told like play it like this or this unit works like Krug, and like that's all gibberish to us, and it's a little harder for us to kind of map out what that means. So the players who come and go, no, play it like this is why, huge shout out and thank you to anyone who's ever done that for us, and there's a whole handful of people who have, so thank you guys for that.
yeah, I think just about every one of my opponents were fantastic, good sportsmen. You know, it was a great time, but it was definitely a little rough playing 12 straight hours of Heroscape on Thursday. I think for the rest of the weekend I was a little brain dead, but I had accomplished my goal. I got the cool dice, and so I was happy with anything that happened. I did really want to win the bounty event later, and thankfully I didn't have to go against Will because Will went crazy during that bounty event. I think his record was like what, 3-1.
It was 3-1, I do believe. Will's bounty army was disgusting, and I loved it. The All Death Walker is insane, absolutely insane. I'm jealous of the people who got to play him because I did not. I was glad I got to play with who I played with, but I wanted to see that in action.
Yeah. But day one heats very long for me, very short for everyone else. But day two I thought was really interesting, and we even had a member hit day three,
We
which I was
did,
super surprised and super impressed by. Obviously, he did it with Serpentor Cobras, but
but he did play them a little differently. Multiple people he played against told him he needs to play a certain way, and he was trying to try a new method with them by playing them in opposites. And I won't give away his strategy, but it worked really well for him. So, yeah, our good friend Austin of Tabletop Bastion, also known as Smiling Rook, ended up doing way better than all of us by a huge margin.
oh yeah,
And he's someone who's actually played like some of the least, but he's always been really good at war games. So I think that really shined for this. And I'm so curious on how far he's going to go in the future as he plays more.
yeah. Again, I was just super proud of our little group for making it as far as we did against these people who have been playing, like some of them as long as I feel like I've been
Oh my
alive.
God, yes. We've met players who have been playing the game since day one. And then like we tell them, oh, like we were born in 1999. And they're like, what? Um, Talking to you, Gordon. Speaking of Gordon from Jandar's Dispatch, He is who knocked out Austin on day 3. So hats off, Gordon. You did it. I'm very proud of Gordon too. Gordon's also given us a lot of feedback on the game and the community. And so it's great that you made it that far, Gordon. I'm very happy for you.
Speaking of Gordon, he has been hounding us for weeks. Every event we see him at, he has been hounding us. He goes, "You have to play other formats. You have to play other formats."
It's a game of formats. You've got to try the other formats.
So we took his advice and we signed up for as many as we could fit in our schedule.
That's right. I took it as a challenge. Gordon, you hear me? I took it as a challenge to put myself in events that I wasn't sure I could build, and we did it.
So the first one, I think while I was playing Heats, you were playing Heat of Battle.
I was. Heat of Battle was awesome. Playing Heat of Battle, I'm not going to describe it perfectly, but I'll tell you as a new player what it was is we rolled a d20 and then took turns placing our units based on army card on the board. I played another version of Vipers, but this time with Addleburn and Frostclaws. And so I placed my squads of Vipers first, trying to bait out my opponent's actual heroes, and then I placed Addleburn. It was fun. Heat of Battle was fun. You got me, Gordon. That was a phenomenal game mode, like format, everything. 480 points was unique. It felt like I didn't just see a bunch of spam. I saw units that I've never played against in person. And everyone that participated in that I played against was incredibly sportsmanlike, and that was fun. That was very fun.
Yeah, I am so sad I missed out on Heat of Battle because I really wanted to play it because I love the brawly. I love getting in there with melee units. I'm not a huge fan of these ranged common squad spam, but
You were chained to Worlds. The sacrifice of getting day 2 is you were chained to Worlds. So
but the event I did get to play in, I did get a little bit of it because we played Fog of War.
Fog of War, yeah.
Where everything can only determine clear sight within 3 hexes. I ran pretty similar to my Worlds comp. I just ran Queen and with the Gnarlfur Bears, but I replaced Karagog. She's too expensive with Sabretooth Raylan, which I think that's Raylan 3.0, right?
Yeah, the Raylan 3.0 is the one riding the Sabretooth with wings.
Yeah, and I was like, well, she takes a -1 on her defense aura, or a -1 range.
Yeah.
But she still felt worth it to me, and it did work out, except I played against this Necrotech comp who I just could not kill the Gas Blade.
That guy's Gas Blade also put me in later. That crazy Necrotech player.
He played you the very next round, did the exact same thing to you that he did to me. But he was a blast to play against.
Oh yeah,
nice.
100%.
But I don't know what he did to that Gas Blade, but that thing was juiced.
It was. And I got to play against Sir Heroscape in Fog of War, and his Queen Kraken build was insane. I stood no chance. Great game, great conversation with Sir Heroscape. And then I even got to interview him. You can see that in the shorts on the channel. Great guy. It was good talking to him. Learned a little bit. He gave me some feedback on Vipers. I did scare him a little bit. I started to get a little bit of a lead. But Kraken's just so good. I couldn't roll to save my life against the Kraken. But it was a good match, so well played, Sir Heroscape. Well played.
It was. I got to watch some of that match. It was very fun to watch. And do go check out that short because I do agree with his hot take.
You agree with his hot take.
I do.
We have learned that some people really do not agree with Sir Heroscape's hot take, so definitely check it out.
Obviously, the numbers could move up and down, but I do agree. But go check it out. As for other events that were a little more casual friendly, I did see that a bunch of the League card game,
What's it called? Riftbound?
Riftbound, a bunch of those guys kept looking over, and the same thing that sold us on Heroscape last year at GenCon was happening to them, where they see these cool maps, especially those scenario maps.
Oh yeah,
so well made, very visually stunning, especially for most war games that play on flat ground.
Heroscape does a really good job of catching people's eye at conventions where they see the map and they see the units and they go, "What is that?" Especially for BattleTech players. This time, like with Riftbound, the Riftbound staff was coming over and going, "What is this? How do I get into it? How much is it? How do I learn to play it?" And they were taking their lunch breaks to come do the learn to plays. And so we talked to them for a little bit and was like, "This is what the game's about. This is what we do. We want people to get into the game." And so like that was awesome. And the beginner friendly events for the 2v2 scenario, phenomenal. Raven did an excellent job hosting that. The paint events where you got to sit and paint one of the three minis. I think it was Blink, Agent, and do you remember the third mini?
I don't. I didn't. Unfortunately, did not get to paint.
Nishi Soda was the third mini. Good mini choices to paint. Definite fan favorites within Secrets of the Citadel. I say they had all of the actual official Heroscape paint, so that was nice, and that was a good setup. The paint setup was done really well. Other side events, the draft, right? There was the
I saw a lot of draft.
the
being
draft.
played.
I will say the draft was a little confusing because some people were telling me they sat down expecting to play something of a draft pool they'd seen, but got sat at the GI Joe table. So some players were a little disappointed. They're like, "Oh, I didn't want to play the GI Joe draft. I wanted like the normal Heroscape draft," and vice versa. And then I know that they were short on judges a little bit. So some people felt like, "Oh, we're just kind of waiting for a judge," but they're so occupied because Ken, you did an excellent job, and I'm shocked you were able to like no one I know could have done 100 players by themselves. You judging for 100 players on day two Worlds was insane, and still managing the side events is crazy. And then all the little people who helped judge and some of the other Renegade staff that stepped in, thank you guys so much. But man, there was so many events going on. I definitely think you guys could have benefited from maybe one or two more judges just to cover the side events so that you didn't have to worry about
I think that kind of goes for all of the Heroscape experience at GenCon this year. I think some of our biggest uh, wishes for improvement are space, and they need to give Will some more people. I felt so bad for him. I was trying to help him out when I could. Obviously,
There's only
he was doing a really good job for like making sure all the events got going, but he got thrown some curveballs,
Oh
and
yeah.
uh, while he handled it well, I felt bad for him.
Yeah, Will, you as always, you've done an excellent job within the community. You have always been one of the outshining stars of who we've met, and your work at Gen Con was noticed. And holy cow, were you busy. Like the amount of times I saw you in the middle of six things and still needing to do two more was crazy. Um, and I saw that you had some staff with you helping you out, which was awesome. But yeah, I think one or two more extra would have put that load a little bit more evenly spaced. That way, everything ran smoothly without the two or three people having to turn the wheel themselves. That would have been a little smoother.
Yeah, and to go along with that, I want them to have more people, and I'm really hoping, and this is out of Renegade's control, it's more of a Gen Con decision, but I'm really hoping next year we have more space. I know last year they had a lot more space, and then this year a little less. I would love to see Heroscape moved out to Lucas Oil, where there's just space on space on space. It's also closer to food, which I found a struggle this year. There wasn't a lot of good food nearby, so those breaks when you've got just an hour, which sounds like a lot of time, but when you're trying to push through an entire crowd of people, it's hard to get very far.
1 hour in Gen Con is not a lot of time when walking takes an hour. I do think Lucas Oil would be great. I know some people are 50-50 on it because they're like, "Oh, my hotel, this and that." Like, Lucas Oil is utilized space, and if they continue to expand to the upper halls of Lucas Oil, the unutilized space, I think Gen Con as a whole would benefit. And Renegade wouldn't have to worry about fighting for local space around them because Battletech is massive and it's growing every year. And then with Riftbound coming out and it being right beside them, it was a choke point. I mean, the walkways were split by dividers, and so you were literally walking through like little walkways and turning sideways. And you know anything about Battletech and Heroscape, these backpacks aren't small. These carrying cases are not small. It is not a TCG. You can't just throw it in a deck box, pop it in the back pocket. You are walking around with a literal bookshelf on your back. So when you turn and you completely knock out the person beside you, and then like someone will drop their stuff, or it's like, oh, did I break something in my backpack? It's not feasible for longevity. And especially like next year, say more players come and everyone needs more space. God forbid we lose a table or two, right? So I would rather it get moved out and be a further walk for some people than it to be like, okay, guys, we have to pick up the maps and move them around for different events. That's what I don't want from Renegade, because that's a lot of pressure on Renegade, on the staff, on the players to be in the right spot, because players like to dwell in an area. And I did see that a lot. And I mean, it's fun to chat, but like if you're in the Renegade staff's way, right, it's going to make it way harder for them to do stuff. And then imagining them trying to have a smaller workspace does not seem feasible.
Yeah, and I'm sure anybody who played at Gen Con can also felt the lack of space for your, like, you got to roll dice, you got to have all your army cards laid out. There's just not enough space. I would love just like one less map per row would have been great.
Yeah, if that was feasible. I
But
know it wasn't,
but you got
but
to fit 100 people, which kind of brings me into my next area that I would like to see improved, which is day two qualifier and how that's handled. Um, Personally, I would love to see practice events for those who already have gotten into day two and disallow them from playing in the qualifying heats. I think it's a little silly and it makes me a little sad that a bunch of people are going into those heats hoping to make day two and they're getting knocked out by somebody who qualified 5 months ago in a store champ. But I also see the need and what they want. Those people who already have those day two biases, they want to practice. So hold a parallel event for them that has no stakes other than maybe prize wall
yeah,
tickets.
just tickets.
Um,
Because I'm on complete agreement with him. Seeing and knowing people playing on Heat 1, Day 1, for practice, knocking out players who didn't get the opportunity to play at store champs and came to Gen Con hoping to get into Worlds, getting knocked out, didn't feel great. It didn't look great. It's not great for our community. It is not going to help the longevity of our game. There does need to be a place for you guys to practice, but I do think it definitely crushed the hearts of some of the new players.
yeah, which kind of goes hand in hand with the other issue, which was day two was overbooked. There was way more players in day two than expected. I think there was what, like 106.
It was a crazy
Uh,
amount.
so they had to create new maps on the spot, which was a little bit of stress for them. And I do think if it means having like one less heat, so quote unquote less people qualify, but we're taking into account all the store championship winners that are going to be showing up.
Yes.
And again, this kind of gets solved with space, but it that kind of threw a wrench into everything, and I'm sure Will and Renegade as a whole also felt that, and probably will not want that to happen again. But something I really want to see is not getting knocked out by some of the top players in the world out
Yeah,
of qualifiers. So
especially in Day 1, where like I know everyone has their different reasoning, and I'm not upset about that, but I met and talked to some people at Gen Con who hadn't gotten to play much that year, who went to Day 1 qualifiers and went 0-4, and 3 of their matches were against people who already had a bye. That's rough, because I'm thinking of these guys that I met who are going to bring back prize wall tickets for their kids, or they went and they wanted to play with their kids, but they're like, I don't know if I want to put my kid in the situation, right? Because you don't want to put a kid who doesn't really know the game into Worlds. Like, let's be honest here, right? But these busy people with normal everyday lives who go, okay, I'm going to Gen Con. I didn't get to make it because of the work, the job, the family, or a situation, but I can qualify. Basically, not even having a chance because of the Day 1 situation was really upsetting. I wasn't a big fan of it. Other TCGs like Gundam and Pokemon and even Yu-Gi-Oh do a thing where, like, yes, you can play, but your Day 2 buy, if you already have one, gets passed down. That would have been a fine solution.
yeah, I think pass downs would be an adequate solution if we don't have the space or the time for those
Yeah.
separate
If
events.
we don't have a chance to make other events, having some form of solution that allows people in. Because even what I find interesting is even though we didn't, to my knowledge, have pass downs, we still overbooked Day 2.
Yeah,
So that might have been a bit of confusion. I know everyone in Renegade right now has a lot on their plate because there's a lot going on, and the team isn't this huge team. So great work for what you guys have done, but this is just a little bit of feedback that we've noticed. Still, great job running. Ken, you did an excellent job, and shout out to all the judges and every other event organizers. You guys did great. But yeah, it's just some stuff we've really seen and noticed.
All in all, Gen Con was a blast. I've had more fun playing Heroscape at Gen Con than I think maybe ever.
Oh yeah, Gen
Uh,
Con was excellent.
it was so fun to also get to talk to the staff who makes these decisions, and I know that's like a special privilege. We're a smaller game, but it was super fun to like learn weird questions I had about lore or what have you. And then my one last little bit of feedback is for the learn to plays and the scenario battles. Give people 2 tickets. Let them walk away with one of those plastic cards, maybe a unit they used or something. If they walk away with something, they'll remember it because they'll see it later when they get home. And I don't think they were giving away tickets for a lot of those events. I know it was more about like play an event, get the ticket, but uh, I think Gen Con is a lot about showing off the game as well as concluding the competitive season to bring people in.
Oh yeah,
But I think for now, that's all we've got for Gen Con. As for what's next for us, I think our next big event is Battlefront Dayton, which we're
Battlefront.
super hyped for. It's the first event we went to, and we had a really good time.
We are so excited. Our first time really diving into Heroscape after Gen Con 2025 was Battlefront Dayton, and it was a phenomenal time. It was hosted well, and then Master Roshi and Mega Silver did an excellent job of figuring out the Heroscape setup. And this year is going to be an Alliance War Valkyrie Trial mix, and it's going to be crazy.
But yeah, check us out at Dayton. Hopefully, we might make it to Hexacon, but that's
We're
still in
hoping
the
to make it to
works.
Hexacon. We are hoping to make it to Hexacon. We will be at Dayton. So, and be ready. I'll be recording more interviews, more Heroscape takes, hot takes. So if you have something you want to say or you have an opinion about Heroscape you would like to shout to the world, have it ready.